You booked it, episode 163. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Every episode is a masterclass on how to move your career forward. Do you want to take your career to the next level? As a listener of this podcast, I am offering you the opportunity to work one-on-one with me to build the foundation of what you need to create a successful career in today's world. Regardless if you're starting out or you've been doing this a while, I've got you covered. Look, when I entered this industry, I went to the #1 school in the USA for musical theater, graduated with an insane skill set, and zero clue about how to actually make my skills a career. I lost years of momentum because of it. Do not let this happen to you. That's why I created this podcast. That's why I'm making you this offer to coach with me. If you're interested, simply tap the link in the description of this episode and let's chat. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Kayla Capone Kasper. Are you ready for this, Kayla?
I'm ready.
Brilliant. Kayla is a voice teacher / coach, actor, and singer located in central Pennsylvania. She has performed regionally across PA and recently made her New York City debut. She is an adjunct instructor in music at Lebanon Valley College, where she received her BA in music with voice concentration. Kayla continued her education by taking classes and studying with the best in the business, including Natalie Weiss, Betsy Wolfe, Sherry Saunders, and leading vocal pedagogues such as Mary Saunders Barton and Jared Trudeau. She is a NATS member and maintains a full private studio. Kayla creates educational content for singers and theater students on TikTok and has a following of over 13,000. She also creates a series on Instagram where she partners with a different professional in the theater industry each week to go live and talk about their experience, offer advice, answer questions, and learn. She can be found on stage in the studio teaching, riding bikes with her husband, or enjoying a good cup of coffee. Kayla, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm a Jersey girl originally from New Jersey and planted into Pennsylvania through college. I went to Lebanon Valley College. It's a small liberal arts school. I went there for voice, and I studied classically, and I had always done and loved theater, but there aren't really many programs out there to study specifically musical theater voice. Most voice degrees are going to be classical. That's sort of the baseline that's out there. So since college, I have pursued more of that education for theater specifically because that has always been my love. And now I'm here in central Pennsylvania. Actually, my husband and I just bought a house,
Cool.
which is crazy. Yeah, last week, I think? No, 2 weeks ago. It's been a whirlwind.
Brand new. Okay, yeah.
Yes, so new, so new. We got a cat.
All the things.
Yes, yeah, and that was really exciting because when all of this COVID finally subsides, I'm really just excited to have my own studio space to teach from because we were just in a nice little one-bedroom apartment before, just with the piano right in my living room, teaching from there. So I'm excited for that. It's been cool to teach virtually through all of this. That's been a unique experience. Even through the college, I've taught some stuff just through Zoom. So, yeah.
Very cool. It is crazy, the whole virtualization of this industry, but it also has a lot of conveniences, right? Because you're working from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. Let's move on and dig into this first section here. And Kayla, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah, this is so simple, and I don't know if I can attribute it to anyone, but it's that you are enough.
Mm.
And that's it.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? That quote specifically has come up so many times through
Mm,
this entire interview process on this show. And what I really like about that, and thank you for bringing it up, because it's become a through line. I love interviewing in this kind of format where we
mm.
ask the same kind of questions to pretty much every single person that comes on the show. That way, we really start seeing the fundamentals of what is making successful careers in this industry. And clearly, the whole concept and that you are enough is such a massive fundamental and through line to success in this industry.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. And it's so much easier said than done. It sounds so simple,
Mm,
but that is so layered and nuanced because as humans, we inevitably develop all of this baggage through what we've experienced in life, through hardships, through maybe things other people have said about us and that we've started to believe, whether they're good or bad. And so it's hard to really just strip those things away and believe that you, as you are, showing up, being present is enough, always.
for sure. And I think one of the hardest caveats of that statement is that by saying you are enough also requires you to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And that is a hard ask and a hard question to ask yourself and to really spend time with yourself because it's outside of this very unique COVID time. It's hard to find the time to just be introspective and
hmm
to spend time with yourself because we're always going, going, going.
Yes. And especially in this industry, we are also always listening to the opinions of other people
Mm,
about ourselves, whether we take it in or not. If you book or don't book a job, that's saying something to you. And it can be if you don't book it, you can start to believe, oh, I'm not enough, or I wasn't enough for this, and that's just not true.
right.
There's so many, of course, we know factors that go into things about why you are or are not the right fit for a certain thing, but it has nothing to do with who you are.
Exactly right. Very well said. And let's move on to this next section here. And Kayla, of course, you are an entertainer. I'm an entertainer. And I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry, like you're having now, takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, yeah, there's an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
Man, this was hard for me to narrow down because I feel like everything is a challenge, which is, I think, sort of also part of the beautiful thing of it, that there is so much challenge and growth to be had from that. But something that really sticks out to me was a couple years ago, I was hired as the soprano soloist to sing Brahms Requiem with a group here.
Mm.
And I was very prepared, had rehearsed it like the back of my hand, really knew it very well. And when we were in the performance, I don't know, about halfway through the solo, there's several measures of rest, and I came in a measure early for my second entrance.
Ooh.
And it was the sort of thing that, like, I knew it was happening as it was happening, and I couldn't stop it. I had to keep going and be off because I couldn't just stop singing because they were these sort of long phrases, and had to maneuver to get back on time. But the thing about that, there's two really important things that stick out to me from that. One is in the moment that it was happening, one of the orchestra members turned around and glared at me.
Oh,
Like, it was, I felt it through my soul, and I was already like essentially having a panic attack. Oh God,
right,
this is
right,
so
right.
bad. And it was, oh man, it was hard to even keep going. I just wanted to cry and run away. But then afterwards, the director came up to me and he just congratulated me and he said, "Wonderful job." And I was so profusely apologetic about it and said, "I'm so sorry. I don't." And he was, "Oh, don't worry about it. It was still great. You were great." And just the distinction between these two professionals in the industry who are both really successful, a talented musician, a really talented director, and the way that it was handled, it really stuck with me, especially as a teacher too, thinking about how I, through their failures, through their mistakes. The thing about this director is he trusts me and he knows that I did the work and knew that in that moment that I was human and that I messed up and didn't feel the need to beat a dead horse and point it all out. Like we all knew. I knew, everyone knew. I'm sure the
Yeah.
audience didn't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that stuck with me and really taught me a lot.
Yeah, for sure. That is the funny thing about when we screw up on stage is that very rarely does the audience even see it or notice it, and it's crazy how time just seems to expand when you're in the middle of screwing things up, isn't it? You're like, this is crazy. But really it's been about 4.5 seconds. And that's also terrifying in some ways, but exciting. And I know exactly that feeling of coming in your music and the wrong time in that train, like you described it. I know I'm screwing up. It's in my head, but I can't just stop. What am I? Because then people do know, right? And
Right.
eventually you get back on track, and it's crazy. But I really like how you pointed out these two different reactions to the same scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Things happen. We have to just continue moving on. Like you said, I knew I screwed up. He knew I screwed up. We don't need to beat a dead horse about it. The point is that you're a professional and you keep moving forward. That is the takeaway, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're going to screw up. That's an inevitability. It doesn't matter how much you prepare. Eventually, something is going to go wrong. You can't do something 1,000,001 times and not have one thing go incorrect, you know?
Right. Right.
For sure. And let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing as an entertainer. Tell us about that.
Okay, so I do have two. One is a
Great.
moment that I witnessed, and one is a moment of me actually singing. But the first one was when I was 8 years old, seeing Phantom of the Opera. I saw it in the front row. My mom and my mom's uncle, who he was like a grandfather to me and a father figure to us, he would take us into New York every single Christmas to see a show. From the time the first one was The Lion King, which I think was the year before. And man, I have so many fond memories of that. But specifically seeing Phantom, sitting in the front row, and during Think of Me, I don't even know, I have the playbill somewhere, but I don't remember who was playing Christine. But whoever was playing Christine, I must have been sitting there just so enraptured because when she was at the front of the stage, she looked at me and she winked at me. And
Ah,
I just, like, in my 8-year-old self, lost it. It was just so beautiful and really beautiful for me to see someone who is singing like me because I've always had this classical voice from a young age, and it was something that I didn't like about myself for a really long time. So to be seeing this woman singing so beautifully and to connect with her in this one little moment was just everything as a little girl. And then the second would be when I was actually performing one time. This was in fourth grade. We took a class field trip to a nursing home to do different sorts of acts or entertainment for the members of the nursing home. And I remember two other friends and we did this like choreographed dance to some sort of patriotic song, I don't remember. But I remember we had felt, red, white, and blue felt letters and just thought we were so cool. But
right.
I also sang Oh Holy Night as a solo for them. And it was just so crazy to see and hear the reaction of all of the all of the seniors, either people singing along or some people crying, some people laughing, some people clapping. Who knows what sort of memories that might have stirred for people, but that was really profound to me to see how music impacts people and can impact others at a young age.
And it can impact people in such different ways. That's what is so cool about this.
Mm-hmm.
Really like those two moments. And thank you for sharing those.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and let's piggyback on that real quick and talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the auditions and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. But what was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
Yeah, so actually, the other day, this came up in my memories on Facebook that 4 years ago, I had a callback for April and Company for a community theater, which I ended up getting the role. But this was really big for me because I didn't start pursuing performing really seriously until then. And even since then, I say it's been a slow burn of really starting to trust myself, take risks, put myself out there. But after college, I went and lived in Connecticut for a little bit, and I was working for a nonprofit and doing absolutely nothing with music or singing or theater. Was just working, a 9 to 5, whatever. And I moved back to Pennsylvania and had this newfound passion and fire to really continue and finish what I'd started and start pursuing what I've always wanted to do. And I had a friend who reached out and told me about these auditions and said I should audition, and I did, and I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like, I had to go print out headshots, which I didn't have headshots, so I just pulled a picture off of Facebook and make a resume for the first time. I had never made a resume before, and what did I? Oh, I sang "Moments in the Woods" from Into the Woods because I don't know. I didn't know how to audition at all, but I was thinking Sondheim. I'll do more Sondheim.
Why not?
Yeah, but yeah, just getting the call that I had booked it was really just an encouraging moment of, oh, I can do this, and I don't have to have it all perfect and figured out yet. And that's what I've taken since then, that it's always a work in progress and a journey, and you have to start somewhere. So that really kicked things off for me.
Great. You don't have to be perfect and have it all figured out yet. That is huge, I think, because it's so easy to get caught up in the getting ready to get ready phase. And at some point you got to take the leap. And oftentimes when you just keep pushing forward and you prepare as much as you can in that moment and you just keep going forward, that's usually when the good stuff really does happen, because you don't really have the time to overthink things. You go in there, you do it, and that's what it is, versus being so overly prepared. It's easy then to start stressing yourself out and putting a lot of pressure on yourself instead of just blowing through it and just doing the work.
Definitely.
Yeah, just do the work. Beautiful. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And it's a weird time, right? We are amidst this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
Yeah, oof. So I can't believe it's been, 7, 8 months since this all started.
I know.
Going on a year. It's crazy. I've journaled a little bit through this time, which I wish I did more of. I've always been really inconsistent with that, but it's been really interesting to look back and just see the different things that have happened even through just this time. But the thing that I've come to realize is that I really need to work on myself as a human first and foremost, always. Whether that means eating well or meditating or exercising, just taking care of myself in every way, because I'm not going to be a good performer if I'm not doing well as a person, performer or teacher, to really be my best. So I've been trying to focus on that a lot more in many ways through some journaling, like I said. I've been doing a lot of reading and then into like more practical career things too, research, taking classes. I've taken lots of classes through this time online, which is really neat. I'm not super far from New York, but it's still a process to get up there and take a class. And right now I can just do it from my house on
Right.
Zoom. So that's been really great right now. And I think that's one of the sort of good things from this moving forward, that people are seeing that things are much more accessible than we had once thought, I think. I do hope that continues moving forward. I hope that there is more inclusivity, more diversity, of course, more accessibility, because this industry it's really elitist. It's expensive to be a part of this industry and to partake even as a consumer of the industry. And I think that this time has leveled things for everyone. And something that I've been really passionate about doing during this time is trying to make education and opportunities accessible to all people. Through TikTok, I ended up offering a free masterclass that I had tons of people audition for, and I had a few participants, and a girl from Malaysia participated.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, and it's just been amazing to see the connections that can happen, and that yes, I believe that artists should be paid, teachers should be paid, those things. But also, there are so many things that we gatekeep that are not needed to. You shouldn't have to pay, I don't know, hundreds of dollars to take a class to know where to look in an audition. There's just things that I think should be information that people should just be readily available. And yeah, that's part of the Instagram series that I've been doing too, just talking with other professionals. And it's just an hour a week, but an hour of people can tune in or go back and listen and just hear other people's experiences and learn from it. Because I know for myself, there was so much I didn't know or learn until I either was in the room or took classes or things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I really like your outlook and the way you're approaching this entire industry as far as the education is concerned. And I agree with you. And that's a big reason why I even started this podcast in the first
Mm,
place, was to fill that gap between training in the real world. When you actually go out with this skill set that you created, now how do you
yeah.
make that skill set work for you? How do you turn your skill set into an income generating career that you can live
Hmm.
off of? And we all eventually figure it out. But my goodness, I spent years before I really figured it out. And I could have, those are years of prime performance time in my life. You know what I mean? That I was figuring things out. If I would have had a lot of this information before even entering the industry professionally, gosh, the advantage and the leg up I would have is crazy to even think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And let's move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
Myself. Just not being secure and trusting myself, my worth, my voice, my heart.
Second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Be yourself.
Yes. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Definitely, especially now, collaborating and reaching out to other artists. And especially, too, reaching out to people that inspire me is something new to me, but that has been incredible. The connections and friendships that I've formed from that have been just awesome.
For sure. I agree with you. I mean, look at us. We're chatting just
Yeah,
because we connected on Instagram, right? So there you go.
exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
And the fourth question, what is your best resource, whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast, or a piece of technology you found is helping your career right now?
I think that the podcasts are great. This podcast is incredible. Everyone listening, go back and listen to all the episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and other podcasts too. People that are like you interviewed Maggie Barra from Actor Aesthetic podcast. Her podcast is great. Really, just these social media tools, I think, too. TikTok has been really awesome, which is like the gem I never expected. And Instagram, just people post and offer free information. There's so much out there that really is free and available. And you just got to dig a little bit, but it's there.
For sure. And the fifth question, if you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
It's so hard because I can't picture going back and having all of these tools without all of the experiences that I've had. Like all the difficult things that, of course, in the moment you wish weren't happening. But as I look back, those things have shaped me into who I am as a person, artist, teacher. But if I could go back, the thing I would probably do is just do everything sooner, trust myself sooner, go for things sooner, put myself out there more, do more things that scare me, go to more auditions, reach out more, just everything I'm doing now, but maybe 10 years earlier.
Yeah. And the last question, what is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Everything that you are doing now will prepare you to be in this career and industry. You might not be where you want to be. You can't see me, but I'm using air quotes. Right now, maybe you're working in a job you don't want to be working in. Maybe you're waitressing. Maybe you're back living with your parents. There's so many difficult things that we're all doing right now that we didn't expect or maybe didn't want to be doing. But those things will only inform your artistry and it'll inform your humanity more, which will in turn inform your artistry more. And being a well-rounded human and a kind person is the most important thing in this industry is, yeah, being human. And reach out to people. Reach out to the people who inspire you. You'd be surprised what might happen. And know your worth.
Yes. Nothing but gold in all of that. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to wrap up this interview, Kayla, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Kayla Capone Kasper. My website is kaylacaponekasper.com. Every month for my voice studio, I am accepting new students, so if you're interested in voice lessons, you can head over to my website. But also, every month I do studio hours where I set aside a handful of time slots for people to sign up for pay what you can lessons. And that can be, if you have $1, that is sufficient. Anything. And what else? On Instagram, we chatted about this. I have a series every Thursday night. I go live with a different professional in the theater industry and talk about their experiences. And the cool thing about that too is we will answer your questions. So if you tune in, you can ask questions and we will answer them live for you.
Very cool. And for everyone listening out there, I have put the links to everything Kayla just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, art and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in the entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. It is integral to helping them succeed and helping you create a better, more fulfilling career in this wild and crazy industry. Kayla, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you, Dane. I've so enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't miss an episode. Every guest drops more value and insight than any other resource out there, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a rating and review. Also, be sure to head over to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help you advance your entertainment career. All the best to you.